You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 65. I am your host, Victoria Wellsby, and today we're talking about reality TV weight loss shows. Boo, let's do it.
Perfect.
I'm Victoria Wellsby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident, fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money, and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty Podcast. Let's begin.
Hello, fatty. How the devil are you? How's life? Are you feeling good? Thanks for tuning in today. This is actually my first podcast episode recording in 2021. I know it's like maybe the end of January by the time you're listening to this, but I pre-recorded lots of different episodes because I have moved back to Vancouver, Canada. And so I wanted to give myself some time off to be able to move country. So yes, I'm in Canada. I am currently in an Airbnb, and my view right now is pretty spectacular. I'm on the 30th floor in a building downtown Vancouver. Now, did you just hear that? That was like a beeping from a truck or whatever. So I'm doing this podcast recording to do the podcast, but also I wanted to do it here in this Airbnb because I want to see if you can hear any of the noises of the city. I guess if a woo-woo, a fire truck or an ambulance or a police car goes by, then you probably hear it. But I don't know if you can hear the hustle and bustle. Like I'm 30 floors up, so it gives me kind of a bit of a buffer. I'm deciding where to live in Vancouver at the moment, whether it be downtown, which actually not a massive amount of people live downtown. It's more kind of, well, that's not true. Thousands of people do. But still there's lots of different areas in Vancouver which are nice to live into. So this will be the deciding. I'm going to listen back to this, and if it's like really annoying, I don't think it will be. I think it's fine. So if you're like, oh, I'm not going to listen to the episode because it's going to be really annoying, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So I arrived in, what day is it now? It's Jan 7th, and I got in on the 31st. So I'm 7 days into my quarantining period. Honestly, I just thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be so difficult and I'm just going to hate it. It's gone by really quickly. I think, this quarantine life, it suits my personality or something, I don't know. I do really want to obviously go outside, but there's a balcony here, so, I can look at people longingly being like, oh, I'm so close to Vancouver, but I'm not actually quite here yet. So, yeah, getting here was a nightmare. Now I'm not like me. I feel weird telling you that I'm in Vancouver because I don't want to encourage people to travel, but Vancouver is my home, and I've been waiting since Jan last year actually to make the move back here, and I just thought now's the time, and it was quite the palaver, honestly, because I took Dougal with me. I took Dougal to Ireland with me, and then I took Dougal back. And to take a dog while going to a country which is not allowing to get into Canada, you have to be Canadian. I'm a permanent resident, and so that makes me, allowed to come in if you're a permanent resident. So no one was really on the plane, which was cool. But I my flights were changed last minute, and to get a flight where I could take my dog, oh my God, my stress levels were through the roof, because Dougal is 8 kilos, right? So 8 kilos, I think that's like 15 pounds. That is the limit on how big a dog can be to travel in cabin. And you're not allowed to take dogs in the stow on many airlines over the Christmas period. Now, I wasn't intending to go over the Christmas period. Originally, I was meant to be going on like today, actually. Yeah, today. But then my flight got cancelled, and so I had to find an alternative flight. And that was the only one available on New Year's Eve that could take a dog. But it was really touch and go, because they allow 8 kilos with the bag, and Dougal's 8 kilos. And his bag was about 2 kilos maybe. That sounds like a lot, but it's like I got him a really kind of luxury sweet bag where all the sides folded down, and so that he'd be uber comfortable during the trip. And he did take full use of those folding down sides, and he stretched out and went into different compartments. It was very good. But anyway, so then when they weighed him, it was 10 kilos, and I was like, ooh. And she didn't say anything, which is lucky, because I was reading all the boards online about like, what if he is more than what they say they allow. And so I think I was just lucky. It was just a palaver. And then 2 days before my flight was going into Amsterdam. 2 days before the flight, 3 days, sorry, I got an email saying Amsterdam no longer is allowing anyone into Amsterdam, even just to change at the airport, unless they have a negative COVID test. And so this is over Christmas, right? So luckily I managed to get in and get a COVID test, and it was negative. Hurrah! And if you're worried about getting the test, it's fine. They just get like a cotton swab, and it's the length of a javelin, and they just put it in your nose and like tickle your brain a little bit, and it's over in just like a second. It's not actually the size of a javelin. It's just it just feels like that when they're like putting it in, it keeps going. You think, when is this ever going to end? It's actually probably like 1 second, length of being like, oh, there's something in my nose, but it's fine. So it was a bit of palaver. So, but I'm here now. I'm in my Airbnb. I'm super excited to be in Vancouver. And the Airbnb I'm in, it's really weird. So it's a really nice building. It's in a great area in downtown Vancouver, and it's all it's new and all that sort of stuff. But I think the guy who is doing this Airbnb has never done Airbnb before and doesn't know how to host people, because there's so many things. Okay, so the first thing, right, I come in. The place has no decoration. It's fine. I don't care about that. But the only piece of decoration in the whole place is a shirtless picture of the host. In a frame. And it's large. It's not like, it's big. The size of a laptop, that kind of size, like big, framed, shirtless picture of the host. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, does he think that I'm going to see this picture of him with his top off and be like, oh, baby, I'm going to give you like 5 stars just for that treat? It's so weird. I sent a video to my sister and she's like, what the fuck is what? I've turned the picture over because I'm not interested in seeing that really. But anyway, so that's like the first thing. I was like, well, this is weird. Then I go in and there's like, I'm like, where are the towels? He's left just a flannel, like like this the tiny little square, towel thing, tiny, the tiniest square thing that you can get. He's left just a flannel. I'm like, what? So I managed to go round, and I had to go through his stuff, and I found a towel. But then all of the other towels were all like, stained really badly. And I was like, oh God, what is this? And so the kitchen, I don't know about you, this really annoys me. I hate kitchen gadgets, stupid kitchen gadgets, like a waffle maker. unless you're making waffles every day, like a waffle maker or something like that, it just takes up too much space. His kitchen is filled to the brim with all of these fucking gadgets, yet he has no kettle or toaster. Now, I don't know if that is a British thing, but like that is the basic thing you would have in a kitchen would be a microwave, a cooker, a toaster, and a kettle. He has a microwave and the cooker because it's installed. I don't even get a choice about that. But he doesn't have, and there's no, anything like tea, coffee. There's no salt and pepper. But his cupboards are filled to the brim with, 50,000 Tupperware containers. And so then when I went to make a sandwich, tried to find a knife, the cutlery drawer is filled with forks, spoons, different accoutrements, stupid gadgets, no butter knives, no normal knives, no knives which is not a chopping knife. I'm like, what is, and then I'm looking for it. I'm finally find a bunch of knives wedged in a drawer, stuck in this thing, and I had to get a spoon to get them out and put them in the cutlery drawer. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's just bizarre. It's like, he's obviously never been an Airbnb host before, and so. And the thing is, I can't go out and get the things that I need, like salt and pepper. I had a food delivery, and it's kind of pricey to get food delivered. And so, I don't want to just get a food delivery just for salt and pepper and, tea bags. And actually, Summer Innanen, she does the same stuff as me. She's got a podcast too, Summer Innanen, my friend. I've got a real life friend in real life. Summer is actually going to, I've got some things delivered to her house, so she's going to drop them off for me, and she's going to drop off some tea and some other things that I need as well. So thank you, Summer. Oh, yeah. So another 7 days of quarantining, and then I'm free, and I can go and, I don't know, see shit with my eyeballs. Go and touch the ground and see Dougal again, because Dougal is with his daddy, with my ex-boyfriend. So we got Dougal together 5, 6, 7 years ago, and then when we broke up with kind of joint-ish custody, I'm like 90% custody, but then he can have him and play with him whenever he wants, sort of thing. So that was nice. He's able to look after him while I'm quarantining and while I'm in the Airbnb, because you can't have dogs in the Airbnb, and I can't quarantine and walk the dog at the same time. But I miss Dougal so much. I'm always like, send me pictures. What is he doing? Or is he okay? What's happening? It's funny how you get so attached to animals, right? I'm just like, oh, Dougal, are you okay? And I'm thinking, oh, Dougal thinks that I've abandoned him. And my ex is saying, he's following me around a lot. And I'm like, yeah, he's probably terrified that he's going to get abandoned again. So it'll be nice to see him again. So this episode, we're talking about reality TV fat shows. And I just realized, I've been already talking for 14 minutes. So this is the longest intro that you've ever had from me. It's because something happened in my life. I have something to tell you. Yeah. Anyway, I presume that you're interested, and you're probably like, fucking skip forward, get on with it, Jesus. Anyway, so I got an email from someone and with a question, and I want to answer that question in this podcast. So let me read out the question. Are you ready for it? So this is an email I got a couple of weeks ago, probably. Hello, Victoria. Don't know why I spoke like that. Let's presume that's how this person speaks. My name is Alex. I have been listening to your podcast for a couple of months now, and I really enjoy it. I have a question about intuitive eating, and that I thought would be awesome if you could answer on your podcast. On shows like My 600-Pound Life, people talk about eating sometimes up to XXX calories a day on nutrient-low foods every day for many years in some cases. Aren't they doing intuitive eating? It doesn't seem like it balances out like it should. It seems like intuitive eating is good on paper, but doesn't always work out in practice. Is that right? Or do I have it wrong? I don't mean to be offensive or fatphobic. I'm just curious. Thank you for your time, Alex. So, this question is really interesting because I know a lot of people see these shows. And so I had to have a different Airbnb because my flight was changed. Anyway, so I was at my first Airbnb where I was there for 4 days because my flight was changed. The host had cable TV. Now I am not exposed to this shit because I only watch things on my laptop, like Netflix and Amazon Prime or whatever. So I don't get to see these adverts, and I was watching TLC thing because there's a show that I like that I've seen just on like YouTube, 90 Day Fiance. If you watch this kind of stuff, you know what and the show is basically like people going and marrying people who abroad, or people from abroad coming to the US and marrying people, Anyway, it's trash. It's trash TV. So I'm watching these marathons of 90 Day Fiance, pillow talk, and in between adverts are coming up for these different shows, not this one, My £600 Life, but a different one, where there's two sisters who are looks like infinity fat people, very, very big fat people. And every time this advert would come on, I'd be like, oh, fuck off. Like, this, I can see just from the advert that the show is toxic as fuck. And I have never seen My £600 Life, but I've seen shows similar to it, or maybe even that show, when I was in diet culture. So if that's been around for years, then I have probably seen it. When I used to watch Biggest Loser, I used to then also watch those shows where there'd be a super fat person, and the show would be like, oh, look how fucking disgusting this person is. Shouldn't be fat like them because they're a loser. So I've seen shows like that, and I presume these shows are, if it's not the same show, or it's very similar in the concept. Like, it's not like, oh hey, here's a really cool fat person living their life and having fun and it's all good and look at them being a good person. I don't think that's what these shows are, right? So first things first, to answer Alex's question, people get confused as to what intuitive eating is. So people who don't really know what intuitive eating is, they think it's an quote-unquote excuse to be greedy. And big quote-unquotes there, big quotes around excuse and greedy. They think it's an excuse to be greedy. And so they think that people say, I'm an intuitive eater, therefore I want to eat 27 hours a day. I don't even want to sleep because all I want to do is eat. And so some people think that that's what intuitive eating is. And some people think that intuitive eating is meaning that you don't listen to what your body wants and that you have a disordered relationship with food. And that's what they think intuitive eating is. Because it makes sense that people think that, because for a lot of people, what is the opposite of dieting? Or what's the alternative to dieting? Because if they're not controlling their food, if they're not monitoring what they're eating, they know what has happened to them in the past is that they go on, eating a lot of things, maybe binging, that type of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with binging. And so they think, okay, intuitive eating is binging, being out of control, just kind of being self-destructive, kind of. When in reality, it's a very natural, when you stop dieting, it's very natural and needed for you to feed yourself again because you've been so bloody deprived. And it's like, you're in starvation. Imagine if you've, been kept kept somewhere away from food, and then you're rescued and they say, here's some food, you're going to be like, oh, fucking give me the food, right? Because you're dying. And that's what's happening when you come out of dieting. And so a lot of people presume that is what intuitive eating is. It's being at that stage where you're constantly like, oh my God, give me the food, and I just need to eat all the food, which is a natural response. But that's not what intuitive eating is. Intuitive eating is listening to your body and your brain, listening to what it wants and honoring that. And that can look like a lot of different things. So for example, because I'm an intuitive eater, so for example, when I first got to Vancouver, obviously quarantining, not allowed out, and the first Airbnb I was in didn't have a kitchen, it just had a microwave. And so I got a few groceries, but I couldn't make my dinner. And so for the 3 or 4 days that I was there, I got takeaway delivered. And so I had, I don't know, the first night I had a Domino's because it was just down the road and I love Domino's. And the next night I had sushi. Oh, been missing sushi so much. I've probably said it on the podcast so many times. Sushi, Vancouver sushi. I had sushi. And then I had, there's a vegetarian burger from a fast food place called A&W in Canada. So I got that vegetable burger. Oh, so good. And then I got a burrito from this vegetarian burrito place, which is really good. Anyway, and so now I'm in this new Airbnb and it has a kitchen. And after 4 nights of having food delivered to me, my brain and my body said, do you know what you really fancy is vegetable soup? Make a nice big vegetable soup. Oh, yeah, carrots and broccoli and cabbage and yeah, delicious. It wasn't as good as my mum's soup. I don't know what I did. Probably because there's no fucking salt and pepper in this place. So I had vegetable soup. And I was like, this is what my body needs, because obviously I hadn't had enough vegetables in those days where I didn't have access to a kitchen. And that's, and that's intuitive eating, right? Is listening to what your body wants and needs. And sometimes your body wants food which is what people would say is quote unquote unhealthy. Still lots of great stuff in all of that food that I ate, and none of that, I even hate that we're saying that word unhealthy, because I don't want people to think having sushi is unhealthy. It's fucking not. It's not at all, or having a pizza means you're an unhealthy person. I've got a whole big thing about deciding what is and isn't unhealthy. Anyway, this is how people perceive certain things. They probably wouldn't perceive sushi as that. I don't think people perceive sushi as unhealthy. Anyway, whatever. I'm trying to work out how people perceive certain foods. So we kind of, I'm listening to my body, and then some days I couldn't listen to my body because I had to order food in, and so I had to do something which was, meaning that I got food, and that I wasn't hungry, and then when I could, eat some more things that my body wanted, and that's kind of what it look like. Everyone is different, so don't think that me saying I had vegetable soup means that you need to be going and having vegetable soup if you had something that you think is not healthy the night before. Please don't take that from it. It's just like kind of listening to your body. Okay, so intuitive eating is not only eating one thing or one type of food, because your body probably doesn't want that. So if you're listening to what your body wants, sometimes your body is like, I'm really fucking tired. Can you just order a pizza and we can just go to bed? And that's what your body wants. And maybe another day, your body's like, oh, it's really hot out. I really fancy a nice crisp salad. And that's what your body wants. And sometimes you might be, I don't know, maybe you're sad, or maybe you're lonely, or you're missing your family, and so you make your mum stew or something, and so you connect with food on an emotional level. And that could be what it looks like for some people. And it can look like at the beginning needing to eat foods that are less nutrient rich because you've been denying yourself those things when you're in the diet binge cycle. And that is the first stage of intuitive eating, is allowing yourself all of the foods which you have denied yourself, and all of the foods that in your brain you've decided are, bad in some way. And sometimes some people who say they are an intuitive eater, they're not actually an intuitive eater. So they hear that phrase intuitive eater and they presume it means I just eat everything that I want, which is kind of true, right? You kind of eat, you eat what you want, and what you want is all sorts of different things, right? So they hear that phrase and they just say, okay, the way that I'm eating is called intuitive eating, so that people will leave them alone and not constantly talk about what they're eating, and so that people don't judge them, and so that they can say, I'm an intuitive eater, therefore I'm listening to what my body wants, so leave me alone, which is absolutely fine. Like, it's fine. Whatever we need to do to cope and live and survive living in the world with a fat body is absolutely fine. And intuitive eating means that you have done or are doing the work to heal your relationship with food. Most people, so many people, have a disordered relationship with food. And obviously it's a spectrum of how disordered. It's so normalized in our society to feel guilt for eating at all. So most people do have a disordered relationship with food. Maybe even it's just a little bit, or maybe it's, a full-blown eating disorder. And so intuitive eating is working on healing that and feeding yourself in a way that is true to you, what you want and need, really, versus eating in a kind of a reactive way of I should be eating better, or I've been good, so I'm allowed to be bad, and that type of thing. So in regards to the show, so obviously I am not going to watch any of these shows now, because I refuse to damage my mental health like that and to expose myself to rampant, violent fat phobia, and support these types of shows that profit off continually exploiting fat people. The way that I see it, it's just like a modern day quote unquote freak show. Obviously these people are not freaks, but that is the way that it is positioned. This is the way that that fat people are depicted in these shows of, whoa, look at these disgusting human beings. Don't you just feel better about yourself because you're not as fat as them and because you're not eating the things that they eat? So I am not supporting that by watching it. No way. And I'm not going to damage my mental health. If you're watching those shows and you're working to love your body, or you're working to become an intuitive eater, they are hurting you. Full stop. No questions. They are damaging your mental health. They are influencing you into hating fat bodies, hating your fat body, into learning what foods you're allowed to eat and not allowed to eat. Stop watching them. Seriously, stop watching them. They are bad for your brain. So I don't know if, because Alex says, isn't this intuitive eating them eating X amount of calories a day? Well, I don't know if the person in the show says, I'm an intuitive eater, but say even if they haven't said I'm an intuitive eater and they happen to be an intuitive eater, we don't know. I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you know because you've watched the shows. But if they are an intuitive eater, we don't know where they are on their intuitive eating journey. Are they at that stage where they are allowing all foods without judgment? And you can be like, but they've been eating like that for years. Well, how long does that stage last? It can be for years. How long is a piece of string? Because how long that stage lasts is dependent on how much of a damaged relationship you have had with food, and how much you're able to allow yourself to heal your relationship with food without judgment. So people really struggle at this stage because they are allowing themselves food and that feels good, but then they get like guilt, afterwards, being like, I can't believe that I ate XYZ. And because of that guilt, it's almost like they're stalled. They can't move forward because they feel guilt, and so they might be allowing themselves food, but if they are saying they're being bad by allowing themselves food, then they kind of can't move forward. So we don't know where they are, if they are doing an intuitive eating, where they are on their intuitive eating journey. We just don't know. We don't know their mental health status. We don't know if they have an eating disorder. We don't know if the cameras are dramatizing stuff to make good TV. Actually, we know the cameras are dramatizing stuff to make good TV. And as well, we don't know if, because people, the people in the show are obviously paid, depending on if they're, a long-term show. Because one of the shows I saw was a series featuring the same two people. So if that's their only source of income, they need to make it interesting, right? It wouldn't be interesting if they were like, oh yeah, I'm a fat person and, I'm just, a normal person and I eat different types of food and, I'm actually not that interesting, which is what most of us are, right? And so maybe there is that need to feel like I need to make it more interesting, because if I don't, that, another series won't get picked up and then I won't have a job and this is my only source of income. And we know that it's harder for fat people to get a job, especially if they are a super fat person or an infini fat person. That, very, very hard. And so if you knew that you're being able to live, pay rent, pay your bills, depended on whether you were interesting to watch, you probably would depict yourself in ways that the camera wants to see, or they presume that that you might behave like. And as well, like, obviously, because I've been on a TV show, I know exactly the kind of shit that they pull to create a story. Lord, do I ever. So, we're seeing, I presume it's like a 30-minute show, 60-minute show, whatever. Maybe it's a day in the life or a week in the life of these people. And we don't know what has been left on the cutting room floor, do we? We don't know if there's a scene where they are, doing things that don't perpetuate stereotypes of fat people. We don't know the full story. We can't know. And we presume, like, when I watch these shows, I'm like, not these shows, but, any reality TV show, like the 90 Day Fiancé thing I was saying about, being like, oh my God, that one person's a real dick and that one person's really nice. And, and then I presume that it's true. I presume, well, this is what they're showing and it's true. But it's not, and it's really hard for me to remember that, even though I've been on TV and they see exactly what they are able to do by, kind of piecing together little things to make a story. So for in example, when I was on the TV show that I was on, there was the quote unquote good fatties. So the fat people who didn't like being fat, who were trying to lose weight. And there were the bad fatties, me and others, who were like, you know what, it's fine to be fat and you can, eat whatever foods that you want. And we all pretty much ate the same foods, right? We would have dinner most nights where one or two people would cook, and the foods we were eating were kind of like a variety of different foods. There was a birthday while we were there and someone made a cake. So when the show came out, you see me only eating cake, crisps, food, food that people would say is unhealthy. And you saw others, the good fatties, the ones that didn't like being fat, eating salad. And I was like, we all ate the same salad and the same cake. Why is it that they're showing me eating food? Like, it was gratuitous. Like, there was one thing where we had to watch a video of someone having stomach amputation surgery. And just before I had been swimming, I'd been out swimming, and everyone, while I was swimming, had cake for the person's birthday. And I jumped into the pool and I was like, do you know what? I'll have my cake later. And so when I came out the pool, you know, when you're done swimming, it makes you hungry. Don't know if that's just me. Anyway, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to have that piece of cake now that everyone's already had. And so I sat down eating the cake. And so, they showed everyone together and I'm the only one eating cake. Whereas 10 minutes earlier, I would have been the only one not eating cake. But they didn't show that because it made a better short story to show that I was, some greedy, out of control around food person. Okay, so take what they're showing with a massive pinch of salt. Massive pinch of salt. And even what the people, how they're portraying themselves, because this is not created in a vacuum. There's lots of different things going on here, right? And another thing to consider as well is that I never considered this when I was judging others for what they ate. Everyone needs a different amount of food every day. And people with bigger bodies, guess what? They need more food. They need more calories just to sustain life, just to keep alive, right? So someone with a bigger body, they have a bigger body. It's like having a bigger engine in a car, or a bigger car versus a smaller car. That smaller car uses less gas, uses less petrol. The bigger car needs more because it's bigger. People who have bigger bodies need more food. And so if I was to judge someone who was bigger than me saying, well, they ate 10% more than I did. Well, yeah, because they need to live, Or, 10%, I'm just throwing it out there. We don't actually know because everyone is different. Even if someone had the same exact body size, the way that their bodies use energy can be totally different as well. So we just don't know, right? We just don't know. So the answer to Alex's question is, we just don't know what's going on here. We just don't know. Intuitive eating isn't, being like, do you know what? I'm only going to eat donuts 17 times a day for the rest of my life. That doesn't sound like intuitive eating. It could be, like if someone is stuck in that stage where they're not allowing themselves to eat donuts and, but we just don't know. We don't have all the information. TV shows are manipulative and show us stuff that is entertaining. Would you be less entertained if they said they ate way less calories than you presumed, or they ate an amount of calories that you thought was okay? Or would you be more entertained if they ate more calories than you thought was okay? You're more entertained if it's shocking, right? And these shows are not there to depict these people in a positive light. They are created to perpetuate fat phobia. And so what if they eat XYZ amount of calories a day? They can do as they damn well please. You can do what you want with your body. I can do what I want with my body. These people on these shows, they can do what they want with their body. If that is what intuitive eating is to them, then who are we to judge? What is going on when the cameras aren't rolling? Are they showing the times that they eat different types of food? We just don't know. But we do know that they show us things which is more entertaining. What if getting a tiny bit of pleasure from food, or even a lot of pleasure from food, is what's keeping someone alive? If their only source of comfort is food, if their only source of joy is food, then who are we to say that they shouldn't seek comfort when they might not be able to get comfort and joy from anywhere else in life. And of course, it's great to be able to add in different sources of comfort or joy, or different sources to cope, and learn different strategies, and have a variety of coping skills versus just one. Because what if that one is not accessible, and blah blah blah. But what if that's not accessible to them? What if they are, I don't know, in a global pandemic, and they can't leave their house and see their friends, and they can't see their therapist, or they can't afford to see a therapist, or, and life is shit at the moment, and the only thing that brings them a little bit of joy is having food that nourishes their brain. Like, shit. And what is the alternative? If their life is, if someone's life is so bleak, and you say that one little bit of joy that you get, you should not be doing it. You're a bad person if you seek comfort in food. You shouldn't do that. You should stop. Well, what's the alternative? They die because their mental health isn't good, in a good place. So let's not judge, because we don't have the information. And a reminder, watching shit like this increases our levels of fat phobia, which hurts us and hurts others, and supports shows like this that exploit fat people for entertainment. And if it's your guilty pleasure, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's my guilty pleasure. Like, get a different one. Watch 90 Day Fiancé instead. Like, watch any other trashy show which is not about how awful fat people are. There's loads of trashy shows you can watch. Because this is hurting you. Even if you're not fat. It's still teaching you that you shouldn't be fat, that other people shouldn't be fat, and that's not a good look. That's not a good look. It's not good. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna be, yeah. So let's throw that show in the bin. Let's put that show in the bin. Let's yeet it into the sun, as the kids would say. Let's get rid of it. And let's not judge others. And I know, this email is, not being like, oh, these people are bad because they're eating food, but, curious about, is that what intuitive eating is? And it's complicated, right? It's complicated. Really, we don't know what's going on with people's lives unless you're that person or not. Yeah. So, hey, over Christmas, over the holidays, I released a brand new product. OMG. It's called Boundary Boss, and it's a mini course. And basically what Boundary Boss is it's 100% online, and it's going to help you put in boundaries when people are being fat phobic. It's going to help you increase your confidence, because you're going to know all the stats and facts around why learning to love your fat body is the right move for you. And so if someone in your life is like, yeah, but being fat is unhealthy, in Boundary Boss, you've got all the stats and all of the articles and all that type of stuff to show, actually, suck my swinging tits. So you're going to know how to say, what to say when people are being judgmental, when people are, coming at you with well-meaning concerns or straight up bigotry, without getting flustered, and setting boundaries. Okay. So Boundary Boss, it means that you don't need to be surrounded by fat phobia, which hurts your confidence and mental health. And you can do all this in 4 days. Yes. And Boundary Boss is just $47. Yeah, true. So the value of everything is $4.97, but you can get it for $47. dollars, because I'm just like, I like being nice to you like that. So so if you've been wanting to work with me and you haven't been able to afford to, because Fierce Fatty Academy is my big program and it's a bigger investment, and so if you have wanted to work with me and you are looking to feel more confident with knowing what to say when people are being people, when people are being people, when your colleagues at work are talking about the latest diet, or when your, Uncle Keith shares some hilarious fatphobic meme on Facebook, or when you're having dinner with your sister and she says, do you really need to eat that? Or your mum or whoever. If you need to work on that stuff, then Boundary Boss is for you. And it's only $47. So go to fiercefatty.com/Boundary Boss. Boundary Boss. fiercefatty.com/Boundary Boss. I don't know how long it's going to stay $47 for. So if you want it, go get it. If you don't want it, don't get it. I'm not the boss of you. Do what you want. And I hope your January is going okay. I hope your life is going okay. For January, so I was doing like my goals and shit, right? So I was looking at my last few years of, what I want to do and what I've achieved that year. And every year I write out 50 things I've done. And, last year I was like, all these amazing things. And this year, still lots of amazing things, but also, I'm alive. I didn't die. I washed my hair. I got out of bed in the morning. I went to the doctors. I saw my therapist. My expectations for what I should be achieving or what is good have totally shifted because of 2020. And now my goals for 2021 is stay alive, find somewhere to live because, I need to find an apartment in Vancouver, and feed myself, go to the doctor if I'm sick, see my therapist. So really kind of basic things. So, if you're feeling like, oh, you need to start doing all these goals and stuff because it's a new year, and don't put pressure on yourself. Just be, just be kind to yourself is what I'm trying to say. Because I'm trying to be kind to myself and not expect myself to be a superhuman. Because you know what? I'm just a human. I'm just a human being, and getting out of bed, putting on clothes and washing my hair is a fucking achievement. Because sometimes it's not possible, right? Okay, well, thank you for hanging out with me today in this episode. It's been amazing. I hope, what do you think about the noise in the background? I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I don't think there was any times where it was too noisy, was it? Was it? Tell me what you think. I'm going to listen back and see if I can hear anything, and then, then maybe I'll live downtown or not. Who knows? Okay, I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for hanging out with me. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to the episode. And if you feel ready to get serious about this work and want to know when the doors open to Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my signature program where I teach all about how to overcome your fatphobic beliefs and learn to love your fat body, then go to fiercefatty.com/waitlist. Again, that is fiercefatty.com/waitlist to get your name on the waitlist for when Fierce Fatty Academy, my signature program, opens.